Hey nerds, welcome back to the Blizzard ANZ Pro League, brought to you by Gamester, and we're ready to rock and roll for map number 1, but game number 2, between Pezz and HuT, after Crimson grabbed himself a win for his team.
Yep, solid start, and now we go straight into game number 2. It's on Ascension to Aya between SYF Gaming and Downfall. Going to be Pezz versus HuT. Now, both of these guys have been around in the scene for 4 or 5 years. They've been strong competitors, particularly through that time, 2012 to 2014. I had the pleasure of playing against these guys all the time in tournaments, and they were so strong, and they just kept getting better and better. And now HuT, he's bloody gone and won his first major tournament in the Probe land that happened a couple of months back, and Pezz is back on the scene as well. It's a great time to be in the region.
Certainly is, but guess what, guys? We're already loaded into Ascension to Aya, so let's get these intros out of the way. In the bottom right, in the red trunks, for SYF, this is HuT.
And over here in the top left, in the blue, playing for Team Downfall Gaming, it's Pezz. I can't wait to see what these guys throw at each other, man. I think... Oh, what did HuT just do there? He built a barracks, but it was at the wrong position. He had to cancel it. So, whoa, he just lost a little bit. Actually, it might have been an engineering bay that he started, because he only got back 94 minerals. That's something that we see Beyond do. It's like they start to build an eBay to check that they're building it in the right spot, but occasionally that they'll misclick and they have to cancel it.
All right. Well, fair enough. He's on the track to getting an actual barracks now, so fear not. And we'll see what they throw out. I mean, last time we saw Pezz play, I think he played pretty straight up. He went with Stalkers for a large portion of the game, and then moved into that super splashy army, lots of Storms and Colossi and whatnot. So I wonder if we'll see a more sort of macro-oriented game from him. Again, I think that was versus... Fuelie? Yeah.
Yep. And honestly, it wasn't really convincing until he hit that late game, but by God, once he got there, he had Blink and Storms and Archons and Colossi, and he just used the mobility of that late game Protoss army absolutely beautifully, and just demolished Fuelie, who, if he was more confident in his late game, he might have had a really good chance there. I think HuT has a better chance. I'm worried that if Pezz finds some decent attack timings in the mid game, that Pezz is just going to roll over our Terran player here. And I know that HuT's also starting to favor mechs, so we'll have to see and find out which style he's going to be going for.
That was my next question to you, because a lot of the Terrans who we have forever associated with Bio are now trying out these brand new mech shoes. And a lot of them are having a bit of success with them, and I actually quite like the shift to mech, especially having more of those sort of 1-1-1 openers. Previously, it was always the mine drop to start things off. Now it's a little different. You see some Hellions come out. Maybe that's followed up with a Cloak Banshee. There's a few different ways of playing it. Some people are experimenting with Cyclones a bit more as well. I think they have a bit of a timer on them in terms of how useful they continue to be. But there's a lot of options.
Yep. This is interesting, though, from HuT going for a few Hellions. So he'll be going for a Medivac, probably for a 2 Marine, 3 Hellion drop. Might go for the main, actually, and just see how many probes that he can kill. Great option, especially if he can keep his Reaper alive. And by the way, Zeph, he's been doing a very good job at that. 3.5 minutes in the game. He's just been poking around. I think ideally he can maybe poke into the natural, make sure that Pezz is keeping his units back at home while he's doing that Hellion drop in the main. I think that's what he's going for here.
I think you're probably right here, and Pezz, on the other hand, is working towards his Blink upgrade already, following up with that Robo, of course, and grabbing himself a couple of gateways.
Alright, so it's going to be slightly different. He's going to be going for a run-by with the Hellions while he drops the Marines maybe in the main. There's no armory that I think we've seen yet, so there won't be any Hellbats. No transition there. And it looks to me like HuT's going to be playing maybe Marine Tank or some sort of bio play. He is adding now extra barracks, so he's He's taking a break, taking a breather from the mech style. And here we go.
Ooh, fair chunk of Stalkers here to greet him, though. The probes come up, and he is getting a couple of good Hellion lines on these probes, but how much is he going to lose? The Marines actually doing some great work at the end there as well. 9 workers have gone down, and he's going to pick up and move into the main. Blink not finished yet, so it's a little harder to chase.
Yeah, a little harder to chase. HuT's killed 9 workers for his troubles here. He's really lost only about, 4 or 5 Hellions. He'll lose the Medivac, and he is going to lose the rest of his units, but he might focus down another couple of probes if he can. That'll be really nice. Does get another 1 or 2. So eventually goes up to 12 workers killed. Pretty nice stuff from him. Now, I'm scared about the counterattack. He is going to have a tank coming out here. It's going to be a lot of Stalkers, though, and they will have Blink.
That's it. He needs to keep that tucked away and get a repair on it. Some Stalkers already coming in at the front here. The rest grouping up towards the bottom left of the main. SCVs come off the line immediately to help fend that off. But HuT's aware of it now, so he's going to be on his toes. Second siege tank is getting very close to finishing. Marines coming out 4 at a time, while Stim and +1 upgrade behind this. But can he hold on? There's the big question. There's the blink on the tank, and it goes down immediately.
Oh my god, Zaf, this is going to be brutal. If Pezz can get vision on that high ground, he'll be able to take that tank out, no worries. And just with Marines, no bunkers, and no Stim even, this is looking pretty bad for HuT. It's going to take a special effort for him to actually take this out. And a huge blink forward coming through from Pezz as he takes out that tank, and he's in a fantastic position now.
He sure is. Some good surrounds with the SCVs and with the Marine DPS. He is taking out Stalkers, but he's losing all the supply depots at the front. He's already lost 9 workers himself, and he's going to be stuck in his main here as that natural base starts to take some shots from the Stalkers. We have another medevac on the way. Another tank has just floated out as well. It looks like he'll probably be able to hold on to get +1, but he's still having a real hard time against these Stalkers.
And behind this, Pezz just playing beautifully, making a lot of probes, going for a 3rd base. It's not all in by any stretch of the imagination. He's adding on a forge. He'll be able to go for those upgrades, getting charge. So he's got a whole bunch of transitions ahead of him. Does go for a blink in here. Doesn't want to lose too many of these Stalkers, but if he can just maybe kill a couple of units, maybe a tech lab or a reactor here and there, he'll be pretty happy with that, and he can just blink out at any time. A big offensive blink forward, though, does trade some of the Stalkers, but probably a decent trade, all things considered.
HuT lifting up that starport, using the bio to push through that gap that he's created, and at the same time keeping that buffer for the tank. He's back on his natural mining. 40 SCVs to 52 probes, 2 base to 3. Charge is now halfway done for Pezz, and he's starting to mix in some Immortals.
Yeah, the Immortals are a great choice. Be able to provide a buffer for those Stalkers when the bio starts to move out of the map, when he's got a couple more of those Medivacs. HuT's not in a terrible position, but he will want to really strongly power up his SCV count. He doesn't have very good saturation, particularly on the minerals here at this natural expansion. Only 6 SCVs mining minerals there, and 22 over at the main. So he's stuffed up a little bit, but he has got 5 barracks. He's got a factory, he's got a starport. He can make a lot of units very quickly. And if he can move out, maybe pressure that 3rd base, then he can start to expand and maybe look for Liberators and Ghosts and things like that as the game progresses. He's got to time it to hit, though. If Pezz can hold on to this 3rd base and get those 5 gateways out, he'll be able to easily defend.
Yeah, in an ideal world, he'd be hitting now just before those gateways could finish up with that +1 attack. And he could put on a lot of pressure to that 3rd base, but Pezz playing this early game beautifully, getting a lot of damage done, and sort of soft containing his opponent for a little bit, is able to get that base up uncontested, get the rest of his production up, and now he's starting to add a bit more defense with the shield battery coming in, and we'll see him move into those splash units, I think, having had that Templar Archive finish up behind them.
Yeah, good stuff. He's got the +1 now, so he'll have decent upgrades there. HuT is going for his armor, and he'll likely want to be going for 2 upgrades at a time later on, otherwise he is going to fall behind. The combat shield's coming up. It should time out pretty reasonably with this push. I'm kind of scared. There's not a whole lot of energy on these Medivacs, and he is stimming his bio quite freely, quite liberally. Could get a decent trade here if he can stim forward and maybe take out some of those sentries, but it's going to need a special micro effort here from HuT.
Yeah, a couple nice shots on those Stalkers, softening them up, but there's getting to be quite a nice army here for Pezz. He's got a couple of Archons and Immortals in the mix. Force Field's available for himself as well.
Yeah, the Charge Lots are coming through. The Stalkers are blinking on top of the tanks. The Immortals will be able to focus fire this down, and now Pezz are taking a fantastic trade here. HuT caught with his pants down, really, in the middle of the map. And he has to hightail it out of there and go back home. But the problem is, how does he transition? He can't expand. Pezz is already so far ahead. There's maybe one more attack, and it's going to have to be an all-in from HuT from here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about transitioning. He has to survive this next push. And it's going to be a hard ask. We have the Colossus Den coming up behind this. The +1 on the ground armor finishing up as well. He's going to try and move out for the drop, but there's an Observer right on top of him, so Pezz is not falling for that.
No, he's not. And here we go. Pezz blinks up his Stalkers onto the high ground. The Immortals are coming back, and the Archons are there doing huge splash damage. All of the bio is so weak. GG, and Pezz will tie the series up 1 apiece.
GG certainly will. Sitting at that 1-1. It's good. We don't have a 3-0. That's step 1 to getting an ace match.
Yep, that's step 1. We're well on our way. Maybe we can get to the ace match. I'll be very happy. So what's coming up next is Blisk versus Seether, which honestly has the potential to be the game of the night. Probably the 2 strongest players on either team, and one of the best Protoss players in the region versus probably the best Terran player in the region.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really sick one. We did see Bliss debut the other week after a long hiatus due to his military service. So fantastic to see a Singaporean player back in the mix again. I think we've seen him in PVZs so far. I'm not sure we've seen him in a PVT just yet. I could be wrong.
I think you're right. I think week 1 he played against Wally, and week 2 he played against Igers. And he actually beat Wally and lost to Igers, which was kind of funny. And then he played against Demi, and he just crushed Demi. It was such a crazy match. I'll remember that for a long time.
Yeah, very entertaining games. And Blisk always such a strong player, really good on the macro side, and can be cheeky as well if he feels like it. Seether kind of needs no introduction at this point because he had such an impressive 2017. He's been looking real good, and he's this sort of guy that we tend to look at and go like, yeah, he plays bio, he's a bio guy. Nope, he's actually been playing a little bit of mech so far in the Pro League. So keen to see what he has to throw out against Blisk. But as always, guys, we'll take a quick moment to get started on Abyssal Reef, and then we'll come back to you in just a minute. Don't go away.